Hello and welcome to the Dandy Funhouse, the home of your favorite frivolities. I'm your host, Neil Dandy, and today we're going to explore the legendary history of Kenner Toys, the company behind Baby Alive, Banjo-Matic, Batman, Beetlejuice, Care Bears, cassette movie projector, close and play record player, Easy Bake Oven, Ghostbusters, G.I. Joe Extreme, Hardy Boys, Hugo Man of 1,000 Faces, Jurassic Park, Knight Rider, Play-Doh, Predator, Raiders of the Lost Ark, RoboCop, $6 Million Man, Spirograph, Star Wars, Strawberry Shortcake, Stretch Armstrong, Terminator, Transformers, and many, many more. All right. In fact, if there was a popular movie or TV show back in the 70s, 80s, or 90s, there's a good chance Kenner was cranking out a line of toys for it. But their history goes back farther than that. Much farther!
Where am I?
You just entered the Dandy Funhouse.
Let's go back to the 1940s. Kenner Products was founded in 1946 by three brothers, Philip, Joseph, and Albert Steiner, along with Albert's son Robert in Cincinnati, Ohio, in an office located on Kenner Street. The company actually started out as an extract, soap, and flavoring business. Every foul-mouthed kid around the world owes a debt of gratitude to the Steiner brothers, for without whom there would be no flavor at all while their mouths are getting washed out with soap. Ask me how I know. Kenner Products' very first toy was released in 1947, the Bubble-Matic Bubble Gun, which was an aluminum bubble shooting gun designed by Albert Steiner, who became inspired by watching children play with bubble wands, presumably after getting their little foul mouths washed out with soap. He consulted with a beverage chemist who explained how the bubbles were made and then threw himself into the laboratory until he eventually emerged with the perfect gateway firearm for children, the Bubble-Matic Bubble Gun. Seeing as how the new bubble gun was a natural fit to accompany their line of soap products, Joseph Steiner, in charge of sales and marketing, took the Bubble-Matic Bubble Gun under his wing and proceeded to fly throughout America and Europe, touting it internationally. The 50s. Now, the most notable moments in history for Kenner in the 1950s would be 1957. Kenner releases their girder and panel building sets, which they become synonymous with for almost 2 decades. 1958, Kenner becomes the first toy company to run national television advertising and becomes one of the first sponsors of the Captain Kangaroo Show. The 60s. Hey man, in the early 60s, Kenner created and introduced its corporate mascot, the Goonie Bird. And in 1963, Kenner brought us some brownies, man, by giving birth to the legendary Easy Bake Oven, which they acquired the licensing rights from inventor Ronald Howes. Raise your hand if you've ever eaten a tiny chocolate cake cooked by a light bulb. In 1966, Kenner reimagined a set of psychedelic architectural design tools and gave us the Spirograph, which was invented by Denise Fisher, whom Joseph Steiner met during one of his mini trips to merry old England. Kenner ended up purchasing the licensing rights and teamed up once again with Ronald Howes to further refine the concept before spinning the Spirograph into homes across the globe. In 1967, Kenner's awesomeness gets noticed and they get bought out by the man, General Mills, who then grows Kenner to become the world's 4th largest toy company and brings Play-Doh into the Kenner line of toys along with the close and play phonograph, which finally made it safe for young children and spaced out hippies to play records. The 70s. 1971, the founders of Kenner, the Steiner brothers, retire as extremely wealthy men and proceed to live out their days at Studio 54. Or maybe they just paraded around with top hats, monocles, and diamond-encrusted walking sticks just because they could. Who knows what they did? They're rich, baby! 1974, Kenner also retires the Goonie Bird. Who loves you, Goonie? Not Kenner. Get out of here! 1976, Kenner buys the licensing rights for the initial line of toys for Star Wars for only $25,000 and 5% of the royalties, making it one of the most lucrative deals in toy business history and propels Kenner's annual revenue to over $200 million in sales. In addition to Star Wars, during this period, they also produced toys for the $6 Million Man TV show, which goes down in history as the world's first successful license for a toy line based on a TV show. Also during this time, Kenner makes the decision to move from their headquarters on Kenner Street in Cincinnati and into their new headquarters on Vine Street, also in Cincinnati, and also relocates their manufacturing to Tijuana, Mexico. The 80s, 1984, Kenner produces the Superpowers collection of DC Comics superhero characters, and in 1987, Kenner is purchased by Tonka, the big yellow toy dump trucks and tractors company? Huh? Anyway, Tonka got busy with him and put Nerf under the management of Kenner, and annual sales bounced to over $300 million. The 90s. 1990. Kenner releases Batman, The Dark Knight Collection. 1991. Kenner continues getting passed around like a cheap hot potato and are purchased by Hasbro. Fast forward to 98, Kenner releases the Jurassic Park Chaos Effect line of toys, which suffer poor sales, coupled with Star Wars The Phantom Menace toys, which also bomb horribly, leading to Hasbro closing down Kenner in the year 2000 as part of a plan to reduce operating costs by 5% across the board. 100 Kenner employees are transferred and absorbed into Hasbro, while 420 have to hit the skids. And there you have it, the 50-year story of Kenner Toys, a tale of childhood memories permanently carved into the cornerstones of American folklore, as well as the world's. A tale of humble beginnings, monumental fortunes, corporate buyouts, and the ultimate demise of a legendary, iconic brand. Kenner, we give a big Dandy Funhouse salute to you. And if you'd like to salute us here at the Dandy Funhouse and support the creation of future productions, you may do so by visiting our patronage page at dandyfunhouse.com. Supporters gain access to exclusive bonus features, and super supporters not only gain access to those features, but I'm also going to mail you crazy stuff from around my house that Mrs. Dandy wants me to get rid of. And before I do go, I would like to give proper acknowledgement to my resources for this presentation. First, a big Dandy Funhouse shout out to Warren Rayberg at Ohio Nerd Toys and Collectibles. You can find his awesome Ohio-centric show on YouTube at youtube.com/channel UCEUVN. Anyway, look it up. You'll find it. I also researched from the website KennerCollector.com, which is an absolute wealth of information and just about anything you'd ever want to know about all things Kenner. Much more than I could possibly scratch the surface of here. Play and Playground Encyclopedia was another one of my resources. You can find them at pgpedia.com and, of course, as always, Wikipedia. Thanks for hanging out with me here at the Dandy Funhouse, and I'll see you next time. But come on back here, because everything's always fun and dandy. Get out of here!